Hey, this is Seth, your mortgage strategist. Wanted to give you a quick market update as some of the biggest headlines from last week came from the global markets, what's going on in the world, as well as the Federal Reserve meeting last week. The United States and Iran signed that agreement to extend the ceasefire, which is reopening the Strait of Hormuz. Hopefully that continues to last, but that's currently help easing some of the concerns around the energy supply, oil prices, global trade, which ultimately helps the inflation fears, which is ultimately good for interest rates. So in addition, kind of last week, the first Fed meeting with Kevin Warsh as the Fed chair happened, and the Fed Reserve voted to leave those interest rates unchanged, which was expected of the market. Now, we continue to talk about the Fed does not directly set the mortgage rates, but the Fed policy absolutely plays a role into the broader rate environment. So that investor sentiment, inflation expectations, borrowing costs throughout the economy are all part of what we get from the Fed. Warsh emphasized that the Fed will continue to be committed to fight the inflation, which is good for long-term interest rates, and announced several initiatives designed to improve the Fed's policymaking moving forward, which is all good news. And while inflation has improved from its peak, it's still one of the biggest things that the bond market is watching, which directly ties to interest rates. So the longer that stays sticky, the more pressure it has on the long-term interest rates, but hopefully we see that turn in the future. And the broader economy shows that there's still signs of strength within retail sales. It shows that borrowers are still spending, even with higher borrowing costs and the continued inflation pressure. They're still spending money, which is good for our economy. So what does this all mean for you? Yes, it is important to understand the market, some of the things going on, and how that could affect us. It is important to watch the Fed. It's important to know what's happening with rates, inflation, the housing supply, builder confidence, buyer demand. These are all important indicators. But the most important thing that you can do for your clients is help them build a plan around conservative affordability. Because we can't control what happens in the global markets. We can't control what happens with the Fed. We can't control whether rates increase or move up or down on any given week. But we can help control the strategy. We can help control the conversation around monthly payment comfort. We can help control how we structure pre-approvals. We can help control whether the buyer understands their true budget before falling in love with that home. And we can help control whether they are shopping based on confidence and not just emotion. And that's where we need to be a team. A buyer should not be making decisions based on what the rates did this morning or what the rates do tomorrow or next week. They should make a plan and a decision based on the strategy presented, conservative affordability. The market will keep changing, headlines will keep moving, rates will keep reacting. But when your client has a conservative plan, a real budget, and a strategy surrounding those numbers, they can go shop with confidence. And for you, that makes your job easier too, because now you're not just showing homes, hoping that rates stay low and that it fits a budget. You're helping your clients make a wise decision inside a market that we can't control. So if you have buyers who are trying to understand what today's market means, what does it mean for their budget, affordability, and the next move, I'm happy to help them build a plan so you can go show them houses with confidence.